Welcome back to LarryB's YouTube channel. In today's class, we're going to learn how to make this beautiful flare top that we see here. It's a very simple tutorial. It has like a turtle neckline, as you have seen, and you can decorate the neckline anyhow you want. You can style it just like we started before. You can tuck in one side of the blouse, so you can put beads on the neckline, you can put trimming on the sleeve area as well. Depends on how you want it to be. It's a very simple tutorial and beginner friendly. If this is something you would like to learn, kindly stay tuned till the end of this tutorial. Thank you. This is a very simple blouse tutorial. I'm going to be cutting the front and back together. You need about 2.5 yards for this tutorial. Okay, you may not exhaust this, but around 2.5 yards, that's what you need. So the first thing you need to calculate before folding is the length that you want for your blouse. I want it to be like a gown top, so the length is going to be quite long. It's going to be between 28 to 30 inches. So here is going to be my length along here. It's very big, so this is the length. This line here that you see here is the length, and then this is going to be the width. And the measurement you are going to use for the width is going to be your shoulder measurement together with your long sleeve measurement, or wherever it is you want the sleeve opening to come out from. So you measure your shoulder, then from your shoulder again you add your sleeve measurement, and then you can add extra 10 inches to that. So if your shoulder is 8 inches and your sleeve is 20 inches, that's 28 already. And then if you add 10 inches to that, that's going to give you about 38 to 40 inches thereabout. So that's what I have here, 40 inches by 30 inches. Okay, I have 40 inches here for the width and 30 inches on this side for the length. And the fabric is folded into 4. Remember, this is the shoulder area, and you can see that it is folded together, which means you will not have any joining. So to fold, I'm going to assume that this is going to be the width. Okay, so now you have 40 inches here, 40 inches here, so total is 80 inches. That's without folding it. And then here is going to be the length. So you have front and back, 30 inches, 30 inches. Here is 80 inches. So by the time we are folded into 2, so by the time you fold again into 4, you're going to have your 30 inches here, and then you have 40 inches, 40 inches for both front and back. So you can see this is what I have done. I folded this into 4. So after folding, what you're going to measure here is your neck measurement. So here my neck width is not going to be a wide neckline, so I'll measure 3 inches for the width of the neckline, and then for the back I'm going to measure 1 inch for the width of the back, and then for the width of the front I'm measuring 3 inches. So after doing this, now you go ahead and connect. So this is a crepe fabric. You can use silk, you can use satin for this as well, depending on the texture that you're aiming for. So that is my front and back neckline. So from my neckline there, I'm going to measure my shoulder. Okay, remember, normally you take your shoulder measurement. The shoulder is 8 inches, which is here. Okay, from the shoulder is what you removed your neckline from. So after marking my 8 inches, the next thing is to mark my sleeve, where you want your armhole to come out from. So for mine I want it around here. So for me that's about 20 inches. So from here I'm going to mark 20 inches, and my 20 inches stops there. Like I said, you need to create an opening for your sleeve. I hope you can see what I'm doing. So it stops there. So to create opening for my sleeve, I'm going to mark about 2 to 3 inches from that point. Okay, so I'm marking 2 to 3 inches from that point. I can leave it at 2.5 inches. Then if it's too small for your wrist, you can increase it, but I don't want it too wide as well, so I'm going to leave it at 2.5 inches. So you have a space of 2.5 inches here to create the opening for your sleeve. Let me just slip it here so that you can see what I'm doing well. So here we have a space of about 2.5 inches there to create the opening for our sleeve. So to guide you, you can just get the midpoint of that as well, and then from the midpoint I'm going to mark about 1/2 inch, and then I'm going to connect everything together just to create that opening. So here I'm going to go ahead and open it. I'm just making sure that my front and back are still together, nothing has shifted. Okay, so I'm checking to make sure of that. You don't want any part to shift. They all have to be equal. So now that I am sure of that, you're going to go ahead and cut that out, and then you're going to now mark extra 10 inches. So I have about 9.5 here, okay, which is fine for me. You can mark 10 inches, you can mark up to 12 inches depending on what measurement that you want from where your sleeve stops. So basically that is what you need to do. So we'll cut out these ones first and then we'll continue. So I'm going to cut my neckline measurement. So this is the back. I'm cutting the back first. The way it is folded, I folded it in such a way that the back and front are quite separate, so you can see. So now I'm leaving the back, and then I'm just picking the front now, and then I'm going to cut the front as well. So this neckline is not big, and this does not have a zipper, so that the head can pass through it from the back. I'm just going to slash the center back in a straight form by around 3 to 4 inches, so that your head can easily pass through it. Okay, so you can see what I have there. So that's my back. Then after cutting that, I'll go over to the sleeve area and then cut that 2.5 inches open. Okay, so this is where my sleeve is going to come out from. So the next thing now is to create that curve to reconcile the hem. So to do that, remember I said I'm shifting it so that we can see. I want the total length to be around 30 inches, which is what I have here. So I have about 30 inches here, you can see, including allowance. So what I'm going to do now is just to connect. So I'm going to connect from that 30 inches, which is the length, which is here, in a curved form to meet my 10 inches extra, which is the edge that we have here. I'm sure by the time I cut it out. So basically, let me show you with this. After cutting your neckline, and your sleeve opening, the excess that you have here, you just curve it like this to meet the sleeve length that you are working with. So that's what I'm doing. I have connected it and I've cut it out. You can see how we just slanted, okay, from the hem. You can see we slanted it from the hem to meet the sleeve area. So now opening it up, you will see what it looks like. So this is the shoulder. So after opening it, you can see this is my back neckline with the slit, and this is the front neckline. It's a bit lower than the back neckline, and you can see that there is no joining. So you can see how big it is. This is the neckline, like I was saying. This is the front neckline and this is the back neckline. This is where the sleeve opening is. So like I said, if this is too small for you, you can increase it, but I think this is just fine for me. So I'm just going to maintain what I have, and this is the 9 inches excess that I have. 9 inches is pretty fine, but if you want it longer, you can make yours 10 inches or even up to 12 inches. You can also reduce where you have your sleeve opening. I want mine to be on my wrist, that's why I made it this low. Yours can be around 18 to 17 inches depending on what you want. So it's very simple to cut. The next thing to do now is just to pipe this sleeve opening area, and then you pipe your neckline as well, and then you hem it on the lower part. So it's a very simple top. So after doing all of that, now you can either bead on this side, the sleeve area and the neckline, or you use trimmings to beautify it, or use whatever it is that you want to beautify it. So I'm just going to pipe the neckline, the sleeve area. You can also use cuff for the sleeve area, but I did not leave space for the cuff. I don't want cuff on mine. So if you want to use cuff for yours, you can just deduct the cuff length from your sleeve and then you use cuff. I'm just going to pipe it by I think 1 inch thereabouts. I'm not going to let it be so long because I don't want it to be reaching here. I already took the measurements up to here. So I'll pipe it. I'll do the same thing for the neckline. I'll hem it on the lower part, and then I'll take it to the mannequin so that we can see what it looks like. So this is what it looks like on the mannequin. I have taped the neckline with it's just a strip of fabric, a straight fabric that I cut, and you can see it's just about 1 inch there. It's not so high. You can also place a bishop collar there, and this is the sleeve. I also taped the sleeve round, so you can bead it, you can add trimmings or whatever it is to beautify it so that it can look luxurious and it won't be so plain. I hope you enjoy making this with me. I'll see you in the next one.